Hi, I'm Wojtek Szczepucha and welcome to my channel. If you want to gain more knowledge about AWS and the services that Amazon Web Services provides to you, stay with me, subscribe, and hit the bell. Today I will talk about cost, about data transfer cost actually. So we'll get into some scenarios that might give you a better understanding how the costs look like from the data transfer perspective. When you think about data transfer between regions, so if you have, for example, one instance here, and want to transfer data between those two instances, there is a cost associated to this data transfer. So you'll be charged for the data that is transferred to your instances. But how you can avoid it? If your data comes from the internet, let's say there is a cloud, and comes to your region, you don't pay for it. So you can create an architecture of your solution that this data transfer cost between the regions will be avoided if it's possible and if it's not necessarily required by your solution. So this is one. What if you want to transfer data within a region but between multiple availability zones? Again, there is a data transfer cost for that. So if you transfer from one EC2 to the other and back and forth, there is a cost. Even if you do the VPC peering between them, still there is a cost. How to avoid it? If you have an EC2 instance and you're using the services that are required to communicate together, for example, here is another EC2 instance. This is not something that creates additional cost. So try to configure your solutions, even if it's highly available and resilient solution. So each part of your solution stays within a availability zone. If you have, for example, database that you want to communicate with, there is another solution that gives you a way to avoid this cost. So try to avoid transferring data between multiple availability zones, but use the services, the managed services that can have legs which are set into your availability zones to avoid this data transfer cost. I mentioned databases. So when you use RDS and it has, for example, MySQL in the clustered configuration, so it has at least two nodes of the cluster, there is no data transfer cost between those two instances of RDS. So if they exchange the data to be on the same level of the entries into the database, so they're exchanging data, so they're in the same stage and in the same state at the same time, in the real time, there is no data transfer cost between different availability zones. But if you want to use this database, make sure that this instance in this availability zone communicates only to this RDS, and this instance within this availability zone communicates with this RDS. And don't try to do this, that this instance is communicating with this one, because transfer between EC2 instance and RDS, if it's in the other availability zone, you will be charged. If not, if you are staying within the same availability zone, you are not paying additional cost for the data transfer, and your RDS in multiple availability zone is communicating together with each nodes of RDS, and you are not paying for this transfer. What if you are having the configuration of your solution using multiple virtual private cloud? So you have multiple subnets, in one VPC and multiple subnets in the other VPC. So if you are staying within this availability zone or the other availability zone, but all the instances, for example, this one communicates with this one, you're not paying for this data transfer. So you can still smile and use multiple VPCs, even peered, but you are not paying for the data transfer. Okay, that's it for today. I will cover another cost optimizations and nuances in another episode. Stay with me, subscribe, and stay tuned. See ya.